What up, y'all? A little live action here for you on a Friday afternoon. Sorry it wasn't sooner in the week. It's been a busy week, but hopefully y'all join. We'll go through everything here. We got a Week 8 review. We got some new arrivals. I've got a white t-shirt on. It's fucking hot. Logan's hat. Oh. Yeah, actually I won this off of him when I beat his team, when I beat his ass. So he gave this to me. I took it. Actually, he didn't even give it to me. I took it from him after I beat him up. I took it, so it's mine now because he sucks. So we got two new arrivals to Loserland. Yeah, straight bullied. He ain't got that dog in him like me. Super poopers. We had a mega trade, and then I came in and cleaned up the scraps for the second time this year. And then we've got a week 9 preview. We got some we got a new sus bus. So we'll jump into that. All right, let's pull this shit up. I'm gonna put the video over here. Boom. I'm trying to make this quick because I gotta go pick Jackson up at 2:30. All right, here we go. We've got Week 8 review. Starting with me, I got my ass kicked by Tanner. It wouldn't have mattered if I started Josh Downs or not. Tanner's all the way back. Well, was all the way back. Now his team's all the way back to being injured this week, potentially. But anyways, Tanner kicked my ass. Yeah, my hair's fucking greasy, I know. I'm working today. I got a big game from Purdy. Barkley had 14 points and Njoku had 12, and nobody else did shit. Shout out to Tim Patrick for getting me 0. Shout out to Shane and Matt for telling me to start him. Let's see here. Tanner had a huge game from Jalen Hurts. He sniped like 3 touchdowns from Barkley. A-Chain had 20. Devonta had 15. Tillman had 22. Everybody on Tanner's team was just scoring touchdowns left and right. It just didn't matter, even his bench. So Tanner kicked my ass 140-88. He's 5-3. I'm 3-5. Next game, this was a close game, super close game. Tim's kicking himself in the ass for not starting the Lions defense. Tim lost to Corey. Must-win game for Corey. Corey pulls it out, 118-117. If Tim had started the Lions defense, who had 23 points over the Chiefs, who had 9, Tim would have won and likely relished Corey to Loserland and would be selling. But Corey continues to get strong play out of Baker Mayfield, another 31 points. I mean, this dude is fucking balling out this year. He's got 21 touchdowns already, 71% completion percentage. He did all of that, those 31 points without his top 2 receivers. So shout out to him. James Cook went off. K. Dotton went off. David Montgomery had another great game. And then on Tim's side, Lamar Jackson continues to have great weeks. Rachaad White and Bucky Irving, it's not like they're putting up monster numbers, but you'll take 11 points and 8 points every single week from them. Marvin Harrison had a big week, 19 points. Darnell Mooney, 15. Mark Andrews scored again. He's all the way back. Austin Seibert, 13. Again, it was a good week for Tim, just not good enough. If he started the Lions defense, he would have won. So Tim's 4-4. Now Corey's 3-5 and tied for first. It's crazy. Then we got a nice little upset here. Shane lost to Logan, 118-99. Logan had a huge game from Josh Jacobs, 28 points from him. Calvin Ridley also went off, 14 points. Tucker Kraft had 14. Just monster games for him. And then from Shane, again, Shane solid, but he had solid games from a lot of players. Jake Ferguson only had 2. His defense had 6. His kicker had 7. Nothing he could have done differently to win that game. Logan just beat him straight up, and sometimes that's going to happen. So Logan wins 118 to 99. Shane's going to really need Tyreek Hill to get it going. 7.2. You need him to find the end zone. So Shane is now 6-2. Logan's 4-4. Then we got Dan. Dan playing Matt. I'm not going to go too much into this because Matt sold. Matt had a huge game from Tyrone Tracy. Wish I still had him. Didn't think he would just straight up take over that backfield like that. But he has. And he had 24 points. So kudos to Matt for that one. I know Landon would probably wish he still had him as well, especially being a Giants fan. Dan had a huge game from Kirk Cousins, Mixon, Ramondre Stevenson, Kyle Pitts. Shout out to those guys for carrying him because the rest of his team didn't do shit. But when those four guys are all putting up like 20, you're in a good spot. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So Dan wins 136 to 89. Dan is 6-2, and Matt is 1-7. Then we got Kevin. Actually, this was the upset of the week. Kevin over Landon. Kevin wins 118 to 105 over Landon. This game got super interesting. Kevin was leading pretty much the whole time, and then Jaden Daniels had that Hail Mary at the end of the game to give him a nice game and put Landon up. And then that garbage time points for Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, where the last 4 minutes of the game, the Niners are just playing prevent defense, and CeeDee Lamb is literally wide open 2 times, scores 2 touchdowns from Dak, and Kevin pulls out the win, 118 to 105. Kevin got a big game. Dak Prescott still had a shitty game, but CD had 28. DeAndre Swift had 22. The defense had 14. Kicker had 12. For Landon, he had some good games across the board. Daniels, Pollard, Dobbins, McLaurin all scored double digits. Garrett Wilson, but he just didn't win. And then obviously Brandon Aubrey only get him 6 points hurts. If he had done anything different, nothing he could have done different to win that game. So Parker's 3-5 and Kevin's 5-3. Then we got Mike and Pizzo, another super close game this week, and what I viewed as a must-win for Pizzo. He's not selling yet. Per sources, Pizzo says he's not selling yet. Likely, he said he will sell after this weekend. For those of you that are wondering, that's his plan. Anyways, Mike got another big game out of Bo Nix. He continues to crush shitty defenses. He put up 36 points this weekend. Jahmyr Gibbs had a monster game with 22. Brian Thomas had 12 but got hurt. Amari Cooper with 0. Maybe Mike wishes he had Devontae Smith. I don't know. Amari Cooper hasn't really done much. And then we look at Pizzo's team. Another huge game from Jonathan Taylor. Cortland Sutton had a good game. Bill's defense had a good game. He had 16 points on DeMarcus Robinson. But ultimately, the 106 wasn't going to be enough. Mike wins 108 to 106. He's 5-3, and Pizzo's now 2-6. Then we got Joey, the exciting whites, Joey and Griff versus Nick. Nick sold, so I won't get into too much detail on this. Joey and Griff win 98 to 80. For Joey, bad game for Jordan Love against Jacksonville. Didn't see that coming. Huge game for Ladd McConkey with 25 points. That could have been actually a winnable game for Nick had he started Matthew Stafford and DJ Turner. Actually started Rico Dowdle, who was ruled out right before the game with an illness. So he could have won that game had he had some guys in. So Joey's 6-2 and Nick is 3-5. And then the last matchup of the week, which was the ultimate demise for Tom. Mason wins 119 to 99. Mason had George Kittle go off for 20.3 on National Tight Ends Day. Not any other huge games, but his guys continue to be consistent in getting him big points. Derrick Henry and Kyren Williams, double digits again, as always. Chris Olave had 12. Chris Boswell continues his number 1 kicker season, averaging 13 points a game for a kicker. That's great for him. And then on Tom's side, Pat Mahomes had 23. Zay Flowers had 13. Steelers had 18 and Jason Sanders had 11. Baltimore wasn't enough and sent Tom to Loserland. So yeah, that's it for the review. Let's look at the new arrivals to Cellar Island, Loserland, whatever you want to call it. That's Tom and Nick. Nick joined the selling party early, realizing his roster probably wasn't up to par with what he was going to need to get into the playoffs. So he kind of beat some people to the punch to get some good keepers, which I think he did. And then Tom obviously makes a mega deal with Landon, which we can look at that right now. Huge trade. We'll break it down here. So Landon gets Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers, Nick Chubb, and Dalton Kincaid, and Tom gets Garrett Wilson, Zach Moss, TJ Hawkins, and Nico Collins. While Zach Moss isn't anything, maybe Tom wants to try to flip him for another, shot in the dark, essentially a dart throw, cheap guy. But Garrett Wilson, he's going to be a good price, like in the 20s. Probably Nico Collins will probably be in the high teens. TJ Hawkinson's only 4. I think it's a really fair trade. I don't think there's necessarily a winner. I think, even if you look at that trade from a non-selling standpoint, we're kind of used to seeing trades where when somebody sells, it's pretty lopsided. This wasn't one of those trades because, again, Malik Neighbors himself, $47. Zay Flowers is likely going to be 21. Nick Chubb is 26, which is solid. He will get kept for 26, I assume. I don't think he's a great keeper given his age, injury history, and the impending free agency. But I think if Landon was 5-3 and not 3-5, I don't think he makes that trade, to be honest, because I think he could absorb some losses until Nico comes back. But again, I think it's a fair trade all around. We'll see how it pans out for Landon in the long run. And then I came in, cleaned up the scraps, traded Josh down to Kamani Vidal for Patrick Mahomes and Deontay Johnson. It's whatever. Pat Mahomes hasn't had a great season, but I view this week as a must-win game against Kevin. And I either had my season in the hands of Daniel Jones, or if I picked up Joe Flacco, I could either have my season in their hands or Pat Mahomes' hands against Tampa Bay, who has the 31st worst pass defense in the league. So I'd rather have my season in Pat Mahomes' hands. Deontay Johnson and Josh Downs. Now I know I'm riding the fine line of being able to go for it and selling. I know that. We all know that. Deontay Johnson's $13. Josh Downs is $9 if they both stay outside of the top 12. So I think that's a wash. Hopefully Deontay Johnson has a decent role this week with the Ravens. Josh Downs is obviously a gazillion times better than Joe Flacco. So yeah, that's why I made that move. Hopefully it works out for me. But then, obviously Tom gets most likely the starter for the Chargers next year at $3, and then Josh Downs at $9. So I think it's a great trade for him. And like I said, for me, that's a trade I needed to make. This is a must-win game for me this week. So let's look at the Sus Bus. Let's look at the new Sus Bus. Again, we're going to leave people that have already arrived at the destination of Sellers Island, of Loserland. They will not be a part of this segment. So let's see. So we'll start from the bottom up. We're going to start with we got 4 members on the Sus Bus this week. Our 4th member is Logan. Logan's sitting at 59% playoff odds. He's 4-4. Now, the reason I'm putting him on the Sus Bus is this week he's got a matchup against Tom, which he should win. Let's be honest. He should win that game. However, Tom is off to a strong start with 21 points from Garrett Wilson. If Tom gets a defense, this game could be a little interesting. Reason being is Logan's going to have T. Higgins out. He's now listed as doubtful. And then Josh Jacobs has a tough matchup with Detroit. And Calvin Ridley will likely see Christian Gonzalez. It's going to be interesting because who's he going to start for T. Higgins? He'll probably put Worthy in for him. And then at flex, he'll probably go Jordan Addison. Or he'll go Jordan Addison unless he wants to stand on business and start Dalvin Cook, which would be hilarious. So I think that could be an interesting game. But yeah, he's at 4-4. He's got 59% playoff odds, I think is what it was. I just don't see that division. That division's very good. They got a lot of good teams, but it's gonna down the stretch, those guys are all gonna be beating each other up. So I think it's gonna be hard for them to put in every single person from that division into the playoffs. So that's why Logan's on the sus bus. We got third on the sus bus is Kevin at 5-3. He's got the best record for a member of the sus bus at 5-3. Reason being, just look at his roster. And, no offense to Kevin, but this is not a good roster. Dak Prescott, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Brooks, Alec Pierce, Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, Sam Laporta, Dalton Schultz, Texas defense, Brandon McManus. He already got off to a bad start with the Texans and Dalton Schultz failing to reach 10 points between the two. So that's a bad start for him. He's not in must-win mode yet, but he's going to have some very interesting decisions to make as we approach the trade deadline here in the next coming weeks. We'll see what happens. If he goes on a little losing streak, like I said, he's going to have to make a decision. So what's Tanner doing? Tanner about to make a move on the live? Oh. Let's see here. And then sitting in the passenger seat of the sus bus is me. Realistically, the whole South Division should be on the sus bus. None of us have 50% playoff odds. Corey's technically in first at 3-5 with 32% playoff odds. Then Landon at 44%, and then me at 33%. But it's me in the passenger seat at the sus bus. Like I said, this week is a must-win game for me against Kevin. I made some moves to try and emphasize that. Yeah, you're right, Landon. I don't know. We'll see. Tanner is his own beast. Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, so yeah, it's a must-win game for me. Got some good matchups for my players. Got some bad matchups for my players. Some risky matchups. Obviously, I'm starting Parker Washington. He's the de facto wide receiver 1 for Jacksonville because he's the only one healthy. Deontay Johnson, we'll see what kind of role he has. He's playing a tough defense. But obviously, Baltimore's offense is elite. Travis Etienne, I'm hoping he plays. They seem optimistic he's going to play. And if he does play, I hope he fucking gets fed because I need him to be fed. If he doesn't play, I'm in trouble. So hopefully he fucking plays and plays a lot. And then driving the sauce bus is none other than Pizzo. We knew that he's driving the sauce bus. He probably should already sell, but the good news is with him, he's kind of being the last one to sell. He's going to have some decent opportunities for players. Tanner's got Puka Nacua, Devon Achane available. He's got Khalil Shakir, who with good contracts on his team. Kevin doesn't have anything. Mike has Bowers and Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe Bo Nix that Pizzo could go after. Shane has Drake May and Chase Brown. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown's got a good contract. That'd be a player I'm interested in if I was selling. Who else? Joe, Dan. I mean, Dan's got Leggett, but that's nothing crazy. Mason doesn't really have any elite contracts left that he's going to trade. Kyron's got a great contract, but I don't see him trading Kyron. He could get creative, though, if he wanted to get Jonathan Taylor. Logan doesn't really have any great keepers. Dan doesn't. Does Joe? I don't know his contracts off the top of my head, but I don't think. Maybe Ladd McConkey. Ricky Pearsall. So, yeah, there's some interesting guys that'll be available. But obviously, Pizzo with Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Brian Robinson Jr., Jonathan Taylor, Drake London, Courtland Sutton. If I'm Pizzo, I don't trade Drake London. Because even if he finishes number one receiver, I think he's only going to be $44. You're not getting a top 10 receiver or top 8, we'll say, for less than $50. You're just not, and I think you'd be crazy to trade him. But everybody else on his team, I would 100% be selling if I was him. So yeah, that's it for the Sauce Plus. Let's look at a little Week 9 preview. I'm playing Kevin, like I said, just alluded to that. Right now, after Kevin's slow start, I'm projected to win by 16. Hopefully that holds true. Tanner's playing Pizzo, which again, if Pizzo might not necessarily even need to sell this week. It depends on how the rest of the division does. If Pizzo can sneak out a win and potentially stay within one game of the division lead, there's no point in him selling, honestly. But right now, Tanner's projected to win 118 to 111. Then we got Logan, 111, projected to beat Tom, 78.5. Like I said, if Tom gets himself a defense, this could be an interesting game because they still have T. Higgins listed for points in the projection. So that game could actually be a lot closer than what it currently says. Then we've got Corey and Mike. This is going to be a nice game right here. Corey right now is projected to win 108 to 104. Let's see. Who am I going to – I forgot to pick my winners. I got to do that. Let's see. So for my game, I'm picking me, Tanner, and Pizzo. I'm going to pick Tanner, Tom, and Logan. If Tom gets a defense, I'm picking Tom. If he doesn't, I'm picking Logan. Then we got Corey and Mike. Like I said, 108 to 104 is a projection. I think I'm going to pick – let's look at these matchups. They got a shitty pass defense. Mike is starting 2 Buffalo receivers against Miami. It's a bold move, Colin. Let's see if it pays off. Starting Bo Nix over Derek Carr. I'm going to pick Corey here. I'm going to stay with that. I'm going to pick Corey. He'll get the win this week. I hope he doesn't, for my sake. But I think he wins. Then we got Joey / Griffin and for Shane. This one's projected to be 122 exciting whites to 105 Shane. There you go. See? Well, I told you he was going to make his own decision. I was just trying to tell him what you were going to fucking do. All right, so we got a little trade during the live. Tanner trades Khalil Shakir, Jalen McMillan, and what else was it? Khalil Shakir, Tyjae Spears, and Jalen McMillan for Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely. This is Landon going out and hunting contracts again, so that he can make a trade with Pizzo when Pizzo ultimately decides to sell. Also, smart move by Tanner because when Keaton Mitchell comes off the IR, he's going to have to, or CMC, he's going to have to drop somebody anyway. So he's going to need to make a 2-for-1 at some point and get some value for one of his guys instead of just cutting him loose and getting nothing. So, yeah, we know that Landon's angle on that will be trying to flip those guys to Pizzo. I'll tell you right now, I have zero interest in those guys. So if I lose, I don't want any of those three guys. They suck. Shakir's good, but, maybe I would give you Jalen Waddle for him. Let's see here. So, anyways, Shane's projected to lose 123 to 105. Let's see here. Do I think that holds up? Chase Brown against Vegas, Goff against Green Bay, Connor against Chicago, Jamar Chase against Vegas. This is going to be closer one than what the score is saying. But those are some nice matchups for Joey. I'm going to say Joey does win this game. Then moving on, we got Landon versus Tim, projected to win 125 to 98. 125 to 98. I'm going Landon here. Sorry, Tim. It's just he's got a better team, got more firepower. Wait, what was the trade? Is it not? I thought Zay Flowers was in that deal. Oh, he was. Okay. So that should adjust. Okay. I'm going to start Jalen McMillan over Khalil Shakir, huh? No shot. He'll be in your lineup. Khalil Shakir will be in your lineup. Yeah, still taking Landon there. Then we got Mason versus Matt. And I'm picking Mason. I'm not even going to go into that one. And then we've got Nick versus Dan. Dan's projected to win 126 to 93. Already got a great start from Joe Mixon. I'm going to say Dan wins that game. So, yeah. That's all I got for you. Great week of trading. Let's keep it up. Let's see if anything else happens after this week. Like I said, I'm on that cruising that fine line as is Pizzo. That division, our division's lack of success is really what's kept a lot of teams in it for a long time, despite shitty records. So, a lot of our teams have opportunities to win this week. So we'll see how that shakes out. And that's it. That's all I got for you. So hope y'all have a great weekend. And we'll talk soon. Peace out.